I was extremely frightened. It was the 23rd of September 2007. I was in London. My aunt was suddenly possessed by some sort of being. She spoke in a different language. She behaved in a different manner. She pretended like we didn't exist. She did not correspond with anyone in the house. It was a very tragic moment. We felt that we completely lost her. But we didn't. Because we had faith in our religion, of course. And with the help of a priest who came over to the house, he casted out a chant, and she was shivering, she was vibrating, she was yelling and screaming, she was tied up on the bed, and even my father, we were all afraid of this being that had gotten into her. When she got out of this phase of being possessed, she was extremely terrified, and she believed that something had gotten into her. But it was our family that convinced her that nothing had got into her, and it was just her own phase of being something else. And it was really hard to convince her, but when we did, she finally believed that nothing had possessed her. We never told her this secret till date. We kept it within the family. We decided to not tell her because she would be afraid of these things. Such things do exist, and I've witnessed it with my eyes, that the person goes through when this happens, of how they behave, how they try to victimize themselves and be something they're completely not. That's all I have to share.
Exorcisms. We've all heard of them, been scared of them, and wanted to know more. My name is Safa Mansouri.
And my name is Hushna Kasad. Welcome to this episode of When the Lights Go Out. And today, we're going to talk about exorcisms, the do's, the don'ts, in different cultures all around the world.
But what is an exorcism? How does it happen? Who does it happen to? And what are the rules? Listener discretion is advised.
An exorcism is a religious practice of removing demons from the body of someone who's been possessed. This practice is carried out by someone who's called an exorcist.
An exorcist performs the practice based on his or her religious belief. Religions that follow these practices include Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, and Judaism. It's really interesting knowing that even though the goal of each exorcist is to, remove the demon from the body, the way they do this practice differs greatly.
And of course, with concepts like these, there's always the believers, the skeptics,
and the confused. I, however, am a believer. And the reason I believe these things happen and are real is because I've seen them in my own family.
I, for one, am a skeptic, but an enthusiast. Do demons exist? Are they able to possess a person? I'm not sure. All I know is that these stories and theories have existed for centuries. Possessions and demonic activities have various stages on how dangerous they can be.
But the rarest and most dangerous of them all is the full-blown bodily possession.
And this full-blown bodily possession is of two kinds. The first is the involuntary kind, the one in which the demon enters a person's body without their permission. The second kind is the integration, where the person accepts the demon into their own bodies. But if it makes you feel any better, it is important to note that even though a demon can possess a person's body, it cannot possess its mind and soul.
So you're saying that it corrupts the body, but it cannot corrupt the soul or the person's free will. However, a uniform belief in all of the religions is that even if a person does die during an exorcism, which is likely, its soul goes to judgment before God, just like any other soul, and is not damned because a demon had taken control of a person's body. In other faiths, however, committing suicide, not so much.
So the statement still prevails. Everyone is still equal in the eyes of God. Consequently, if a person does die during an exorcism, the demon has to evacuate the body immediately. It cannot reanimate the body and use it if the host soul has already passed.
Some of the several telltale indicators of whether a demon has possessed your body include ignoring holy things, being able to speak in languages that you had no idea about before, supernatural strength, and even physical changes like change in your body structure and an extreme change in voice.
And this is why I believe that exorcisms are the only way out of a demonic possession. So, if you guys have any experience in the matter of exorcisms and possessions, please send it to a social media platform.
We've now come to the end of this episode of When the Lights Go Out.
I hope everyone had something to learn from this particular podcast. And remember that even if you think you're alone in your bedroom, you're actually not. I'm sorry I had to